Ready? You ready? 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 Okay. Good morning, everyone. Today I'm going to take you on a beautiful journey in the northwestern hills of Trinidad, where history, culture, and breathtaking beauty all come together at Fort George. If you've ever been here, you'll know what I mean. The view alone is worth the trip. From the top, you can see the entire city of Port of Spain down below, and the glistening view of the Gulf of Paria in the distance. The air is cooler, calmer, and just breezy to To understand why Fort George was built, we first have to understand what was happening in Trinidad at that point in time. In the late 1700s and the early 1800s, Trinidad was transitioning from Spanish to British rule, and the British were expanding their plantation system. This meant more enslaved Africans were being brought to Trinidad and later on indentured laborers brought from India. For the British, Trinidad was not only a colony but a valuable investment. Protecting that investment meant protecting the port, which was the island's main link to trade and profit. So Fort George became part of Britain's plan to secure its control. It represented military power, colonial authority, and economic protection. So while we look at it today as a peaceful and tourist landmark, back then it was a symbol of surveillance and domination. Originally called La Vivi, meaning the lookout, Fort George was built in 1804 under the direction of Brigadier General Sir Thomas Hislop. Fort George wasn't just one fort either. It was part of a complex network of defenses. Some of these included the York, Prince Charlotte, and Abercrombie on the lower slopes. Together, these fortifications made up an impressive line of protection. It was considered impregnable and the strongest defense position on the island. Ironically though, it never saw a single battle, not once. Still, it played an important role in the country's sense of security. During times of tension or rumors of war, merchants from Port of Spain would carry their valuables, records, cash and important documents up to the fort for safekeeping, trusting its stone walls to protect what mattered most. As time went on and the threat of attack faded, Fort George's purpose changed. By the mid-1800s, it was no longer needed for defense, and in 1846 it officially ceased to be a military establishment. In the decades that followed, it found a new life as a signal station built around 1883. Workers there used plugs and later telegraph to send messages to the city below about incoming ships or important updates. This was long before the age of radios or cell phones, so the station was vital for communication. Interestingly, the signal station was designed by Prince Kofi Inti, the son of King Kofi Kalkalai of Ashanti, West Africa. He arrived in Trinidad in 1881 after being taken under British care following the Ashanti Wars. Despite his royal background, he adapted to life on the island, working in the public works department and leaving his marks through the design of this structure. The signal station operated until 1964, and just a year later, in 1965, a major restoration of Fort George took place 3 years after Trinidad gained its independence. Today, Fort George stands as one of the most well-preserved historical sites in Trinidad. When you visit, you can still see the original cannons, stone dungeons, and artifacts from the early 19th century. There also is a small museum that gives a glimpse into the colonial past. This area has been restored and maintained by groups like the Rotary Club of Port of Spain West, and it's now a popular spot for both locals and tourists. There are picnic areas, a playground for children, and of course that stunning panoramic view of the Port of Spain and the sea. Birdwatchers often visit too, since the fort sits near a forested area where many of Trinidad's songbirds can be found. And as one writer from the Trinidad Guardian beautifully put up at the fort, the air is rare. From colonial rule to independence, Fort George, once a symbol of control and power, has become a place of peace, reflection, and pride. It reminds us that while history can be heavy, it also teaches us resilience. Fort George may have been built for war, but today it stands for something far greater: our ability to preserve the past while embracing the beauty of the present. So as we reflect on Fort George from its colonial beginnings to its peaceful present, We see more than just stone walls and cannons. We see the story it tells of Trinidad's transformation from a place once ruled by empires to a nation standing proudly on its own. It reminds us that history isn't just found in books or museums. It lives around us, in the hills, in the architecture, and in the stories we pass on.
Trinidad is great. This country of my book, Trinidad and Tobago, is the greatest island on earth. This country of my book, Trinidad and Tobago, is the greatest island on earth. Tell them what Iraq and Iran, all them had a confusion, but in we peace-loving nation, we solve we own situation. Anywhere else it's impossible. Government overthrown, that's big trouble. Tell CNN say the truth about we, and don't mistake Trinidad for Haiti. But where else in the world government overthrown, and for your life you could still beg. Where else in the world you want to kill a man and shoot him in the leg? Where else in the world government overthrown and man petting him